Hello, everyone. I'm Chibuzo Machuku. I'm going to talk to you about a Virginia man who died in the hands of sheriff's deputies. Irvo Otieno died of asphyxiation due to like 10 people piling on top of him on the floor in the hospital, eight of whom were sheriff's deputies. Otieno, who had a history of mental illness, as his mother said, was taken to the Henrico County Jail instead of right to a hospital. Now, afterwards, I don't remember how long he was in jail before he was taken to the hospital, but afterwards, he was taken to the hospital in handcuffs and shackles, and he was put on the hard floor despite being in those handcuffs and shackles. Then eight of the deputies and three of the hospital workers piled on top of him, leading to his death. They were on him for like 11 or 12 minutes. I'm going to roll the clips of his mother, Carolyn Oka, reacting to this unfortunate incident.
From start to finish, they failed. They failed Irvo Otieno.
Fighting back tears, the mother of Irvo Otieno telling us she believes a group of sheriff's deputies and hospital workers murdered her son. She says the 28-year-old had a history of mental health issues and just needed help.
When they took him into the hospital, I expected him to be taken care of and to come back home to us.
What's next for you in this journey?
I want justice for my son. I want those monsters, those animals that treated him so wrong and squeezed the life out of him. I want them brought to justice.
Some people are still wondering why race is brought in when a black person dies in police custody. Those people are animals and scumbags. They are gutless scumbags. They didn't care to think about the golden rule. Treat others the way you would like to be treated. Apparently, they didn't care about who was being killed, so far as it wasn't them. That was absolutely crazy and disturbing. The deputies claimed that he was being combative, right? Here's the footage of what happened here. It obviously looked like he was combative, right? Cabell Baskerville, Dinwiddie County's Commonwealth attorney, said the incident began in the Henrico County Jail, where Otieno was allegedly punched by officers in his side and torso. She alleged that Otieno was pepper sprayed while he sat in his cell alone. He was afterwards taken to the hospital. Those deputies claimed that he was being combative, which was a lie. The footage shows it. Now, I'm going to roll some additional clips.
Well, Eric, Deanna, we've sifted through an hour and 40 minutes of this video showing the minutes leading up to Otieno's death. Now, the first video, it starts at 4:16 p.m. on March 6th. It shows Otieno led into Central State Hospital by several authorities. Now, it's important to show you this because he's leaned over, handcuffed, and has leg irons on his lower body. Now, the second video picks up at 4:19 as authorities bring Otieno into another room. He's still leaned over here, and seconds later, authorities put him on the ground. Now, we can't hear what's being said or see what these two deputies are doing, but Otieno is clearly not fighting back here. The most movement appears to be his toes wiggling periodically and his head falling back. Now, Otieno stays in this position for 6 minutes. Then at 4:25, he slides down to the ground and 3 deputies are now on top of him. At 4:26, another deputy comes, so that's now 4 holding him down. And 1 minute later, 4:27, deputies and hospital staff swarm him. You can no longer see Otieno at this point. And for nearly 12 minutes after this, deputies pin him to the ground, at least 2 of those deputies consistently pushing his head down. Now, we've blurred this part out, but the video shows Otieno appearing lifeless. At 4:39, hospital staff check for a pulse. Otieno is still not moving. He was then injected by Central State Hospital staff, but we don't know what that injection is. CPR is administered shortly after that.
In response to the incident, Otieno was in cuffs and shackles. So how was he being combative? There's no way he could have been combative. There was absolutely no need putting him on the floor and piling him. They killed him. He didn't do anything that put anyone's life in danger. Those people are animals and scumbags, like I said earlier. Those sheriff's deputies, they violated their oath to protect and to serve. And as for the employees of that hospital, I don't know if they were nurses or aides or security guards or whatever, but I suppose they were trained not to abuse anybody. And also, they should know that everybody by law is a mandated reporter. I advise you, if you work for a hospital or nursing home or whatever, and you see sheriff's deputies being rough on a civilian in handcuffs and shackles, don't get involved. Instead, call the police or call some other crime combating agency, maybe like the FBI or the state's Bureau of Investigation. Even if you cannot do anything to save the life of someone, at least avoid taking part of it and do something to get those people arrested. Don't get involved. Don't put your hand over there. If you're like a huge nurse or nurse's aide or whatever employee of the hospital or whatever healthcare center, and you're asked to give help to someone that is said to be like combative, and you see the person in handcuffs and shackles, back away and call the authorities for appropriate action. And now, as for Blacks that are involved in law enforcement or that are paramedics, nurses' aides, or whatever, I warn you, you can mess with your own. However, I guarantee you, there is nothing like a Black person getting white privilege. White privilege, or let me say white supremacy, is about targeting Black people. If you get involved in politics and you do things that politicians do against Black people, which I find disgusting, you will get away with it. But when it comes to something like law enforcement or trying to restrain a civilian that is in the hands of deputies, that is a different thing. If you're involved in law enforcement or whatever, and you do something like that to a Black person, you'll be arrested, tried, and convicted, either for committing murder or for being Black. That is what white supremacists are up to. They're after the lives of Black people. And now, to wrap this up, those people that killed Otieno, they couldn't even think about the consequences of their actions. They could be given like a life sentence or a death sentence. People that commit murder, they are inmate magnets. Yes, inmates don't like former cops or cops. Any cop doing time for harming people, they could be harmed by other inmates. Feel free to leave some comments. I would appreciate you liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching.